right. Hi, this is me, Vicky. This is Tiga 3D. Today I'm exploring Bambu Studio released a new beta version, and it has the ability to import colored OBJ files. And so I'm just kind of exploring that as we go. And since I'm doing this anyways, I thought we would just do an informal stream, and if anybody comes, they can kind of keep me company while I work. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into some tediousness, and we can go into the background if as people show up and if they need anything. All right. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm working in Blender here. This is the modeling software I'm most comfortable with. It's the modeling software that, oh, hello, John. Thank you for joining us. It is a modeling software that I'm most comfortable in. Back in, before I had my FFF and FDM printer, I did take advantage of Shapeway's full color sandstone prints. So I had some experience on doing colored modeling files way back in the day before I had my own 3D printers. And so this last November, I got a Bambu A1 Mini and the AMS Lite. And so now I can do some multicolored prints of my own. And almost instantly, I wanted to know how can I translate some of my older designs over, that I had done for Shapeway Sandstone over into the Bambu Mini. And at that time, I had learned that you can have your colored model files, your OBJ files or whatnot. And when you pull it into Bambu Studio, it would lose the color information. And so I can paint it again in Bambu Studio. I had noticed on GitHub that there was this request for directly import colored 3D files. But what was most interesting was this My Pillows Ate You guy or girl, I don't mean to assume, came up with this really ingenious workaround. It was a little tedious, but it was a nice little workaround where a Python script was used in Blender to map all of the color information from Blender into vertices for the OBJ file. And then there's 3MF files that come out from Bambu Studio and also Prusa Slicer. It turns out you can just open them up. They're just like almost like zip files. They're 7 zip files, I think. And so you can open them up and get to the model file that comes out, and you run a Python script that would take the OBJ file and look at every vertex and copy that over to the model file that was in the Bambu Studio 3MF file. I had done some proof of concepts with that. Let's see here. I had played with open recent. Oh, let's go and save that. I had played with making, maybe this didn't have to be a texture map, but this is in Blender, but I had a little amulet that my son wanted to print. And so I had made a little texture file. And then these are the geometry nodes, shamelessly copied from the My Pillows Ate You user on GitHub. And then I would export this into an OBJ file, which I think the trick to that was you have to check colors here when you're exporting. And you can see there was quite a bit of trial and error that went with this. And at that point, I would go and you'd open up just the normal model in Bambu Studio and export it, or save it as a 3MF project file. Then you'd open that up and then you would extract out the model file. And I think, let me see if I have the script here. Do we have it? I might have to look around for it. Oh, color copier. Let's see. And then you would basically like, hey, this is my OBJ file. This is my model file. And you'd run this script and it would copy the color information, and then you'd have to replace the model file that was in the Bambu Studio 3MF file. So it was quite a to-do. Luckily, I had seen earlier this week that they made a comment that they had done a little beta release for Bambu Studio where you wouldn't have to run this Python script. You could just go ahead and import in your OBJ files right away to Bambu Studio. So this is the 191 public beta, and this is the feature that I'm playing with, imported OBJ file with the color function. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, it took some good. Yes, it was a ton of work to do it the Python script way. I think it's going to be, it cuts out a lot of work so far, but I still have some tedious up ahead. So separate to this whole Bambu Studio coloring thing is I have a friend that's near and dear to me and actually unleashed my love of hiking. And he also is a mushroom hunter. And I saw this beautiful model. I hope I pronounced this right. The Gazzaladra is the designer. And this beautiful model caught my eye. And I knew that this was something that I wanted to do for my friend for his birthday. And I thought it would be really cool. And I can still abort and just use like a single color at any point in time. I can abort, but you can't. Well, if you don't stand out in the rain, it's something a writing teacher of mine used to say back in the day. And my husband aptly points out that getting struck by lightning is not actually something to aspire to. My son's revision of that statement is you can't see the sunrise if you don't stand out in the dark. So, but the sentiment is you're not going to know unless you try, and you're not going to have victories or these eureka moments unless you try. So today what I've been doing was I've been working in Blender. Let's go back to my normal little project here. I don't need to save it. So I've been working in Blender and starting to color everything here. Oh, and good. I'm glad that there's more mushroom hikers hunting, more mushroom hunters out there. All right, so this part's been tedious, but I think it would be tedious in Bambu Studio as well. What I've been doing is I've been using tools that actually I learned from Joe, the 3D printing professor. Blender is so extensive. I've been using Blender for at least 10 years now, and it's so extensive. I'm constantly learning new things. And so what I've been doing today is using the circle tool that Joe had used on one of his streams. And I'm just kind of coloring in like the section that I want to make the darker brown. Everything else is like I want kind of the divots, the crevices to be a dark brown and all the outlines to be a light brown. And so you can use the circle tool to highlight it. And then there's another thing that I learned from Joe. You can use the plus sign on your number pad, and it's going to increase the, expand your selection. And it can take some time, which is good. Why people are hanging out with me. And hello, Mike, and hello, Maker Viking. And oh, hi, Britt. This is, I'm just fumbling around in Blender and Bambu Studio, just trying to get a colored mushroom going. And so once, my laptop is kind of blocking my screen over here. But once I have, this is another smart practice. To turn off your circle tool, I hit escape. Then I can do my Control Plus to expand the selection here, and hopefully we'll see it momentarily. This is the fumbling around part that I promised in the stream. And you know what? I think I'm going to expand more here. Okay, let it grow. Once I'm ready, I'll hit assign. And that just kind of changes that face over to the dark brown. And I'm banking on that this doesn't have to be perfect because, hey, Bambu Studio is going to go through its whole little rigmarole. And, you know, we got layer lines and the consideration of our nozzle size and everything like that. So I'm hoping when we get to the real thing, it probably won't be, some of these imperfections would not be noticeable. So I have done a little bit of vetting here with it. And I have some, well, I'll show you, this will take a while. We'll have a lot of time to chat when we import a fresh one in. But I have noticed here some of these little fine, let me zoom in here. I know it's not the 1080 pixels. I think we're at 720. These little fine details where the color changes are, Bambu Studio is skipping it. One of my little go-tos is usually hitting like the XY size compensation, or I think it's horizontal expansion in some of the other slicers, maybe Simplify 3D. I discovered this afternoon that you can't turn that on when you go to slice. It says, you know, for a multicolored model, it's going to ignore that. So I believe if I'm a little less ambitious with my coloring here, I can go ahead and do that. And if we need to, I can get super hacky and go ahead and maybe put in extra spheres or something like that to try to support those things. Or if I get desperate, I can size it up or whatnot. All right. I have not personally tried a ZBrush. I know some people who are fans of it. And the other thing that I haven't played with is Fusion 360. But my more formal live stream show, How Would You Slice That, which is going to be back on May 7th, we are going to have Vladimir from Desktop Makes, and he is a very competent, very talented Fusion 360 teacher. So I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more there. All righty. And I think, yeah, Maker Viking says that ZBrush can be overwhelming. And I think one can safely say that about Blender as well, that probably any kind of new thing is intimidating at first. All right, so we'll go ahead and do a little more coloring here. So Alt-A unselects that things that you already have there. I'm hit C to go back to my nice little circle tool. If I need to, I can use my mouse scroll wheel to make this little tool bigger or smaller. Just kind of similar to what we can do in Bambu Studio with the fill tool, or they have a circle tool too with a pin size. Hit my escape to turn it off. And one reason I do like doing the plus expanding of the selection here is it does kind of smooth my little my selection out a little bit. Go ahead and say. And some of this might end up being a little boring. We'll just rock and roll through it. You better just smell that. And escape, and we'll do our and again, this little technique, that I learned from the 3D printing professor. I'm going to do Escape Alt A, and I'm going to do my circle tool again to just select these out and move them back. I told my children that this is an informal stream. I don't even have my door closed. Actually, I don't even have my hair fully dried. So you may see some special guests here and there. So I believe this is a morel mushroom, which is reportedly quite tasty. I don't think I've tasted one yet myself. Yep. So the other thing you can do with your circle tool, if you hit shift, that's for unselect. You can just do that. Maker Viking. The one of the things that the reason I found my way to Blender was all I knew. I knew it was a 3D modeling tool, and I knew that it was free. So I went with the price point was right for me as well. Throw that up there. I guess I can talk about. I mean, this is tedious to do, but I think the person that I'm doing it for is quite worth it. I think it was circa 2004. A friend of mine. I used to live in the Blacksburg, Virginia area, which is in striking distance of the Appalachian Trail. And it was the middle of winter, and a friend of mine invited me out for a hike in the middle of winter. And I don't know. I guess back then I had a I was a really good friend back then because I didn't have a lot of obligations. So if someone needed help moving, I was there. Someone needed help painting, I was there. So hey, he wanted to go out on a hike, and I went, and it turned out to be just so epic because we walked down from a place called Barney's Wall, and we hiked down to some famous waterfalls called the Cascades in Pembroke, Virginia, and they were frozen. And that's now it's imprinted. Like frozen waterfalls are probably like my favorite phylum of waterfalls. And so, you know, if there's a cold spell in January or February, yes, it's time to go out and try to find the frozen waterfalls. And then a few weeks later, that friend took me on a 11-mile hike, which was definitely out of my league, but I pulled it off. And that's another saying I like to say. You know, I like to say, you can't get struck by lightning if you don't stand out in the rain. But I also like to tell people when we're going hiking, hey, we're not out here to kill ourselves. We're out here to have a good time. And that comes directly from that 11-mile hike where I had to rest a lot. And that's exactly the guidance that my friend gave me, and it stuck with me. Scary TikToks in the feed about the Appalachian Mountains. I have not heard of them, Britt. Maybe I don't want to hear of them because the Appalachian Trail is one of my happy things. I think it would be a very tough call between hiking and 3D printing. What I would want to do. Then you're not going to be the one to tell me. Okay. I know that there's a woman who stepped off the trail just briefly to go to the bathroom, and she's in her 60s, I believe, hiking alone, and she got lost, and she ended up perishing. And the sad thing is that she was pretty close to the trail. Oh, too late, Britt. We're now talking about dead hikers. let's keep it happy. Anyways, over here. All right, so I'm gonna flip over to our object mode. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I hit everything. Okay, but I do know from our earlier, tell us about the magical waterfalls. I will let's save that because we will have some waiting time coming up in the future when we import this OBJ file. I think is over 100 megs, so it does take a while to come into Bambu Studio. Okay, so I think this is one of my trouble areas that I saw earlier in Bambu Studio because I have that color making it so thin. So I'm gonna try to let's make sure I don't have anything selected, and we'll try to move these out. And thank you everyone for joining me, keeping me company on a Saturday night. So a lot of this, you know what, I think in the interest of time, we might try to address the rest. Oh, let's do this one in Bambu Studio. A to make sure I haven't selected anything. And I can again make this bigger. Let's just a lot of this out. And mad props to Brit and all the people who do this regularly. It is a back and forth, back and forth. Escape out of my circle mode and hit assign. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and move forward and try to fix these in Bambu Studio when they're there. So I think earlier I showed you a little amulet with a texture map that I had been doing with my son. We can quick little pop back to that real quick. So it's overkill, but I had done a little texture map where they can you can unwrap the skin to it, and you have little areas that you can color that way. And with that, you had to use what's in Blender called geometry nodes. So you can map everything to a color data point here. And that the purpose of that is so we can export it to our OBJ file. One little delightful discovery that I made earlier today is when what I'm doing here is I'm just texturing, or I'm coloring by the material. So I have two materials in this model. I have my like kind of yellow, my tan, and then I have my dark brown. And I discovered I don't have to do all that extra stuff to map to the vertex data. I can just go ahead and export right away to the OBJ file. But I still do have to do a couple things here. In Blender, by default, it's going to export everything that's in your project file, which isn't a big deal here because I just have one thing. But it's best practice to go ahead and start thinking about your selected only. This is something I think me and Joe, the 3D printing for professor, have in common. It's like it used to be like back in the day, it defaulted to this, that your selections were what you're going to export. But such is not the case anymore. So we still have to do an extra checkbox here. And then for OBJ files, we do have to hit our colors. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and coloring for stream. Go ahead and export that. Okay, I will comment on this while let's go back over to Bambu Studio, because this I have discovered takes a while. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and we're going to pull in a new one fresh. So this is brand new. The 1.9. Did they even have a little about help? Bambu Studio. This is their 1.9.1.58 beta that I just downloaded this morning. And we're going to go ahead and import in my new OBJ file, coloring for stream. And this is good morning, good evening, 3D Medic Vents. Thank you for joining us. This is not a formal stream. This is a fumbling around and learning stream. So I'll go ahead and import this in, but you can see that it is quite a large file. This is not always the case. When we were working there in Blender, you can see that there's an awful lot of faces there, which is a testament to how detailed and how beautiful the model is. And if you do want this model, the link should be in the YouTube description. And at some point, I'll grab it and put it into the chat as well. We're going to start this long journey. This is going to take a while. So we'll sit there and we'll talk. So first off, sometimes it's kind of chill to it's kind of zen to just chill out. Here, we can go to just me for now. Okay. And you see, informal stream, wet hair. Sometimes it's kind of zen to just chill out and work your way around the model. I totally agree with that. And I also would kind of relate it to the zen that I feel with crocheting and needlepoint, which Britt, I believe I saw you crochet on your stream once too. When I used to, before 3D printing, one of my hobbies besides hiking was needlepoint plastic canvas. And when I do that, I would make like little designs. And a lot of them was infringing on intellectual property, because I'd be like, oh, I'm making a Beavis, or I'm making a Homer Simpson, or I'm making a Mickey Mouse. But, I'd map them out on graph paper, sketch them. I sketch still for my 3D models. It's the same kind of mentality and process or whatnot. And then I'd have to stitch them. And when I started 3D printing, I thought, this is great, because I could come up with a design and then the printer is going to make them real. Because if I wanted to make a dozen hokey birds or something like that, it was on me to stitch them all. And I thought it got a little bit tiring or like a chore at the time. So I started on my 3D printing journey, and make the models, have the printer do the repetitiveness of it. And gosh, when was it? It might have been at COVID. No, it's probably before that. I was crocheting a blanket, and I realized I missed the meditativeness of just that, the repetitiveness or the counting, there's just something very peaceful with the repetition that I had used to abhor. And so now I'm trying to do a little bit of each. I have 3D printing projects that I have combined with a needlepoint, and 3D printing projects that I've combined with crochet. And so I get a little bit of that nice meditativeness. And I also get a little bit of the not having to do everything and outsourcing to my little robotic laborers there. All right. And then we want to flip back to waterfalls. And I wonder, I'm on my machine here and see if I can find a frozen waterfall picture maybe for you. It's so epic. I prefer to show you, maybe it'd help if I Yeah, I'd prefer to show you one of my frozen waterfall pictures. I know. And meanwhile, just so you know, you're not missing much on the Bambu Studio screen. It's still working on that file there. All right, so I will grab you some frozen waterfalls. So I used to have an old blog. Come on. Here we go. So this is that first frozen waterfall. Let me zoom in here on my browser. It's just epic. And since then, we've been back to those same waterfalls. Actually, my husband and I, see here. My husband and I went there before we were married. I can find that. Meanwhile, let me pick up. Oh, okay, wait. To be continued on that. All right, so here's our brand new little screen from Bambu Studio with the new release. So my first best practice that I found is it's identifying a lot of colors, even though it looks like all the the RGBs are the same. So the first thing is I'm going to say, hey, we're down to 2 colors here. And then I kept importing them and somehow I was appending them. So I ended up with like 15 different little colors here. But I also learned recently that you can say what filament you want to map it to. So this black, I think I want. We can always change it later if we need to, like make that the tan and make that the brown. I think it's backwards. Well, we'll see. I haven't played with these like color match or reset options. I just knew to stop hitting append, and we'll do okay. All right, I did flip-flop them, but that's all right. I will go over here, and I can also flip-flop them when I set it up on the AMS light. And just oh, yeah. What do we want to put? And I think everybody here is pretty seasoned in 3D printing. I do point out to my 3D printing in my classes that it's not necessarily, oh, is that not the right one? Not necessarily the color that you see in Tinkercad. It's going to be the colors that you have loaded there. Let's see. Is it you? We'll see. Yes. Okay. So we're going to change you to tan. There we go. All right. Wait, this might be something I want to listen to. Now we need a one color to another, but leave the rest. That would be nice. It would make the files quite a bit smaller. Yep. All right. I want to position this differently, so I'm going to go ahead and hit my little lay flat tool there. Okay. And I think I'm going to get rid of this while I'm here. All right. And we're going to go ahead and slice it. And we are expecting, you know, like from earlier this afternoon, I'm expecting some issues here. It's not, well, I still don't, you know, I don't like these. If you can see it, here are these little empty areas. So I think we'll just try to fix those here. I'm going to go ahead and save this project as something else. Oh, coloring test. That sounds pretty self-explanatory. All right, so let's go see what we can do here. I'm going to switch back. I have where my eyes are fixed right here. So I'm ignoring you, chat. And oh, no. Doesn't look, oh, okay, maybe it's this side. Because this side, the red, or the, it's going to be dark brown. But our pop color, not pop color. I don't know what we would call that, but our secondary color, maybe it goes too close to the wall. So we're going to go ahead and go into our paint mode, and I'm just going to use our color pen at this point. Actually, I'll make it bigger. No, not that big. See, I promised you fumbling, and we got some fumbling. I deliver. All right. So you know what? This actually is kind of a little mirror of my modeling process. Particularly, I don't know if you've seen, I've done a lot of buildings for wedding venues and stuff like that. And you have tiny details like shutters and bricks and shingles. And I like to slice as I go to, you know, just see if I'm nailing those details. But as I mentioned before, even if I don't nail those details, I usually have the XY horizontal compensation and the horizontal expansion hack to kind of get around that if I need to. But the good news is I think we can say that the new feature in Bambu Studio is importing in those OBJ files. And I do have to say, maybe we can take a detour later. I showed the Python script that was moving the vertex information over to the 3MF model file. And the way that that was working, it was looking at, what was it doing? I think it was looking at every vertex for the face, and that kind of like figured out what was the most frequent color. And so when I brought things in, it was coloring by the face. And when I brought things in, sometimes there'd be weird triangles where I didn't expect it that I'd have to clean up. Hello, Be More Exposed. Thank you for joining us. But anyways, I think from that little amulet that I pulled in earlier, that struck me as actually being cleaner than what had happened when we had been doing the Python hacky script. So already I am pleased with the Bambu Studio OBJ importing in. So that's good news there. Ugh, still quite a bit. But I'm going to stay the course. And if not, I'll make it bigger. And you know, just as an FYI, I had pulled in the model itself and had painted a little bit in Bambu Studio just to see if this was a artifact of my OBJ file or if it was just a side effect of the painting. And it did look like it was doing the same kind of thing if I painted too close to make these little walls too thin. So I don't think that's a function of the OBJ import. Just make it. And I guess, you know, if I wanted to, earlier in Blender, I showed you how we can hit the numpad and hit the plus sign to increase our selection. There is I wonder if we want to do this. There is you can select everything by material type. So I could select everything that's dark brown and then hit the minus sign to like kind of shrink that selection. Something to consider. Are there any gaps in the model after slicing? Okay, so I did pull in, hold on, let's go ahead and import in download the models. This is the one that I did. And so when it is single color, it will come in. Hold on, move that over. Well, I'll just go and slice. I'm not going to keep the green there. Oh my gosh. Hi, Layer by Layer. Thank you for joining my little floundering around, trying out a little beta feature. So yeah, Mike from Never Let the Machines Win, it is coming in quite nicely when it's a single color. And then I think what I had done was if I had is a little, because we're natural scientists, right? As 3D printers, so you try to eliminate variables. So earlier I was painting things, and I'm gonna go white excessive just to make sure. Hopefully, because this could backfire on me, but hopefully duplicate the issue here. So let's see if that's enough. Oh, so that's, I see. So that's why Baltimore, that's be more exposed, Baltimore exposed. Okay. Layer by layer was, that was layer by layer, just in a different account. So it's not as bad, but oh, we don't have the, we have a little bit right there of, hold on, shift key, a little floating artifact there. And there. Or we can tack this a different way. We'll just get a like, let's see here. No, too big. Hey, we're just gonna outline all of you. Hey, yoink. I saw a tweet from Mr. Beast a while back. And I think Joel Telling gave it a little boost too. I mean, I guess Mr. Beast doesn't need a boost or anything like that. But he said that he hated to see people who put in a big investment for fancy equipment and everything like that, or quit their day jobs before they go and pursue YouTube and streams and everything like that. And the sentiment from a lot of prominent YouTubers was like, you can make content with anything. And so my confession to all of you is not related to stream stuff, but I don't use a stylus or a fancy mouse. This is a mouse that's probably pretty cheap, like less than $20 from Best Buy. So when I'm highlighting these things, it's nothing fancy. And maybe you'll be able to tell. Maybe I should invest in one of those mice, but I guess it's just goes to show that you can get started with, you don't have to make a big investment to get started in 3D modeling. I'm not sure if I'm making this worse or better, but we will take a look. Okay, I think we're getting better. And I think it's going to be cute. All right, let's stay the course. Our modelers in chat, I am curious, do you use a fancy touchpad or a stylus or anything with your modeling? Am I the outlier here? Don't need to worry about that. I don't think it's a little iffy here. In Blender, they have the screencast add-on where it can show you for learning purposes, and also it's probably pretty handy with Blender because it's so complicated, but it'll show you what keys you're doing and what mouse clicks you're doing. I haven't looked to see if there's a comparable feature in Bambu Studio, but mostly I am just left clicking and dragging. And Fix'em Dude, oh my gosh, you are a very talented modeler. So if you're using a mouse, you can feel a little bit better. And Mike, I'm one of the bad folks who uses Space Mouse for CAD style modeling. Use a pen tablet for ZBrush. You sound fancier than me, Mike. Fancier indeed. I want to. I know we're going backwards. Oh my gosh, it's like dating myself. Terms of endearment. I guess it's not really dating myself because it was an old movie back then. But there's one of the characters. Well, she's not a single mom, but she's under having some financial difficulties. Her and her husband, and she's at the grocery store, and she's she doesn't have enough money, and so she's trying to put groceries away, but then her little son is like, you promised me a candy bar, and she put a candy bar back, and the cashier was a little snippy and said, you're going the wrong way. And so I feel like I'm going the wrong way sometimes here, where I just removed some of the burgundy and then I'm putting the burgundy back, and so I'm going the wrong way here. And I did make an unsavory realization about terms of endearment recently. I think it was last year. I had fever, and it's one of my it's that and Steel Magnolias are one of my movies I like to watch. And I was watching that, and I found out that Shirley MacLaine at the time, when she was filming it, she's playing the grandmother and the mother of the main character, and she found out she was only 5 years older than me. I think the takeaway there is I'm old. I will get there. My one of my modeling, probably my modeling style is brute force, and maybe my slicing style will be brute force. I will get there. I will get you, mushroom. It's the right click to pan, I should say. There. Smush it till it looks right. Mike, you're so used to, I'm so used to, Mike is just the best at all live streams of reminding people to smash that like button or to subscribe or hit the notifications or whatnot. So I just saw the SM and immediately I thought it was one of your smash that like button. Right. Another thing I have in common with Fix 'em Dude. Just brute force. Yep. And yeah, speak of the devil, there's Mike doing what probably like what nobody does better in the 3D printing community, supporting and reminding people. I'm not as concerned from an aesthetic standpoint as just the fragility of these little sections here. I think we're good on the bottom. Oh no. Oh, all this time I thought we were good on the bottom, but we're not. So I think I'll remember next time I embark on this. Well, I don't know if I'll be doing something quite this with the thin details as much, but I'll remember not to get overzealous with the number plus sign in Blender to expand the selection. Yeah, so that was the other thing I was toying with here is I can just make it bigger. My friend's worth the extra printing time. We'll see what slice it but I think it would we'll see how it does when we make it a little bit bigger there. Good suggestion, Mike. All right. So let's go. I don't know if I'm gonna go 5 times. Let's try 2 times real quick and see. Cool. Bamboo orga. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be kind of cool. So what layer by layer is talking about? Oh, look at that, Mike. Wait. What was it? Nope. Oh, I like it, right? Oh, let's see. Oh, I think it's gonna be pretty. But let's real quick go back to what layer by layer is talking about with the height range tool, which took me that amount of time until I noticed it. Is you are able to paint in Bambu Studio by just like if you're used to the layer swaps, like I used to do a lot with my birds or my magnets and whatnot like that. This is an easy way to go ahead and do those colorings. So it just highlights what you're doing, and you can go ahead and do that. Let me Control Z that real quick, because one thing I do like about this height range tool, and I'm still really new to Bambu Studio, but if I do the fill tool, sometimes maybe this isn't a good example. Let's see. Okay. So I had done this where I'll do the fill tool and I think I have things filled in. And then when I go and slice it and see like, it's still doing color switches on that first layer. And it would be because the inside of the model didn't get picked up by those colors. So here, we'll go ahead and say it. So I'm like, oh, yay, look, everything's great. Just ignore our beautiful colored one over to the side. Just look at this little dinky left one here. I'll be doing a model, and then all of a sudden there's unnecessary color switches, which is going to slow down my print. And it'd be because I just did a quick fill, and the inside of this thing is still the original color or whatnot. So what I like about the height tool is that's a way to eradicate any inner geometry that may be colored otherwise. So I would just come in and go to my height tool and set up really high. And so, if you're just working really fast, that wasn't the color that I wanted to do. But yeah. Well, no, you can see it. You can see it in there. The where my height tool was, it already colored it. So I just need to come up more. Yoink and yoink and yoink. There we go. Okay. And so that's, it may not be noticeable, the color wise, because it's on the inside, but I'm going to notice as my little Bambu Mini is purging all that extra filament and everything like that. So that's the two things I like about that height tool is stuff that's done layer by layer, like where you're doing layer height changes, and also just to make sure that there's no inner geometry or crevice that's getting missed by the fill tool there. All right, well, let's go back here to our where'd my pretty one go? Oh, because I'm in color paint mode, aren't I? There we go. Gotta catch up here. Okay. So do we know in Bambu Studio? Oh yeah, when we go to the sizing. So let's see here. So 29 millimeters on the X, and I think 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. So it's a little more than an inch. Height wise, a little more than 2 inches. I think that's a size that I can work with, actually. Let me catch up on the chat here. Oh, nice. And yes, it does look like it's going to be a more successful print and more bang for the buck and everything like that. So, the other thing that I would have to do is, do I still have that? Let me show you the image here, if I can find it. This is the thing on Bambu Studio. Here's the, here we go. So this is the model from Gazzaladra. I hope I'm pronouncing that right because it's beautiful. There is an extra little piece that you insert into the bottom of it so you can stick it into a potted plant. And as luck would have it, my friend, who is the one who introduced me to hiking and who is a mushroom hunter, he also is a majored in horticulture. And so he is a planted pot enthusiast as well. So this is a good little thing. So it's going to be twice as big, which I think is fine because I have a giant money tree. I think it's a money tree here. Yes, it's a money tree because it came from my financial advisor. So the little pun, like it's a money tree. So I think that the double size will work. So what I would be doing here, I'm going to pull in the extra little piece as well. The little pin. And we'd want to size that up as well. And one thing that I would be concerned about is, you know, when you size things up, you're also sizing up your clearances. So, oh, maybe this is going to wiggle more. But I am not too concerned with that because I can gloop it or I can use craft goop or something. You know, I think it can accommodate that if it's wiggly. So go ahead and size this up 200% too. All right. Save my project real quick. I'm kind of excited about this. Okay, wait, we want to make that the same color too. This is probably like do we have a missing? Did the fill tool do it? Okay. And it took me a long time to learn that I can fiddle around with the fill tool options to get it to go better than what I wanted to do. Get it fumbling a little bit, but I would go, oh, it didn't work. Oh, well, I guess I can't use the fill tool. And I didn't think to adjust some of these settings here. And I think Tessa Nessie, Sparky Face 5 kind of opened me up to that there. Okay, so some advice that I got from Denise, STL Denise. Oh, you know what? Now I'm going to get picky. I'm going to get picky because I think I want to put some more color back in. But ultimately, since you've been with me an hour, oh my gosh, hi, Zombie Hedgehog. Don't worry, I'm wrapping up so I won't encroach on your stream tonight. We're going to, are you still going to look through photos of from David Wheeler from Rocky Mount Riprap Festival? Because he's photographed the East Coast Riprap Festival before. Best photographs. He really captures the spirit of the event and just, I don't know, he does a really, really good job. Yes. Oh, hi, Joe, Mike. I think we're wrapping up here, but as a recap, I guess, and goodness, I was right in the middle of a STL Denise thing. Okay. STL Denise has a video on no more poop, and it's just tips on minimizing your filament poop. And so one of the things that she taught me right away is the time consuming part and all the bulk of the poop is coming, you know, on each layer, the color changes and everything like that. And you'll have the same amount of color changes if you print more than one. So tomorrow, I'm most definitely not going to just print just one little mushroom here. I would go ahead and probably clone this or duplicate it, or yeah, it's clone over here. So I'd probably do 2 or 3 And then the other thing that I will probably do is I would make one a sacrificial one and maybe spray paint it later or something like that. And so I would right click and say flush options, and I'd say, hey, flush into this object. And then Joe Mike, Joe Mike, you have a spreadsheet of purge values for different filaments? Is that, I think you have a spreadsheet about that on Google Drive or whatnot. I haven't gotten that fine-tuned with my purge fills, but when I am doing multiple objects and I'm purging to an object, I tend to just do, where is it? My little flushing volumes. I tend to just go in here and just move it to the 0.75 because I know some of that run is going to go into my object. The other thing that I do is I go ahead and shrink my little purge tower somewhere. Options. I don't remember where my purge tower is. There we go. My mistake. Prime tower. So I think I go down to that. So it's kind of not as nice with this mushroom, but I have 3D printed. Oh, wait, I have one right here. Go ahead and do this really quick. Working with my mouse. There we go. I have a little 3D printed. This was the first color thing I did on the Bambu Mini. Was this is my second 3D model ever. It's for my mom, who was a school bus driver. But I had some of these that I spray painted gold anyways, right? So it made sense to make this a purge object. And then you have one that's cool, kind of cool stripes, and then you just spray paint it later. And thank you, Zombie Hedgehog. And I do have a picture somewhere. Years ago, I tried to hand paint these, and it's very sloppy work. And so this is why the Bambu Mini and the AMS Lite and all these color changing options are very good for Vicky, who doesn't paint very well. Okay, so that was our STL Denise thing, and you should check out her video. I'll try to update the YouTube description with her video if you have trouble finding it. And Joe Mike, if it's appropriate, we can put the link to your Excel spreadsheet for the purge values if you want. But let's just do a recap of what we're doing today. Bambu Studio has a new release that allows you to import in colored OBJ files. This is something that I had done in previous life when I was 3D modeling for Shapeways. And so what I was playing with today was coloring this in Blender and just using materials and whatnot and techniques that I had learned from the 3D printing professor. And then we exported that as an OBJ file, which we pulled into Bambu Studio. And then it gave us a little prompt, which colors did we want to do. And from there, it was kind of hacking and fine tuning because these little fine layers, I think this is double size of the model. But when it was smaller, you know how when the details are too small for the nozzle, the printer will just skip it altogether. And it was kind of getting confused between the two colors, and it was just skipping some of these sections. And this is what I have now. I think we're going to do the double side. I think I have time to print it tomorrow. I'm probably going to nitpick some of these colors after the stream. But I think I'm in good shape of doing justice to my friend who introduced me to hiking and who's a mushroom enthusiast and who loves potted plants. Everybody, I am wrapping this up. If there's any final comments or questions or anything like that, or if you want me to show the Python script that we don't need anymore, let me know. And what am I slicing with Arachne? Are you slicing with Arachne? Joe Mike, I don't understand that. if you want to elaborate, we can chat more, or we can chat offline as well. Okay. I will say, okay, thank you. Yeah, my slicing experience, I was heavy into Simplify 3D for years and years and years. I think my new favorite right now is Prusa Slicer, mostly because, well, I mean, this would be the case with Bambu Slicer as well, but my day job is I'm programming, and Prusa Slicer, I have a copy of the code here, and I've been playing with making my own infills in the C++ code, and so that's kind of fun. And then I'm new with the Bambu Studio for the Bambu A1 Mini. So those are my 3 slicers. I am happy to learn about any more slicers, and I still have yet to see Super Slicer or learn more about Orca Slicer. So if anybody is interested in doing a tutorial or like a tip of trick on that, you should hit me up, because we have a live stream show. My friend Lawrence Nightingale and I do a live stream show on Tuesdays that are prime numbers, and we call it How Would You Slice That? So we try to balance community conversation time with some kind of educational stuff in slicers. All right, and our next episode will be May 7th with Vladimir from JoeMikeMakes. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in on this little experiment and watching me fumble around with Blender and Bambu Studio. I think with your company and the suggestion of just sizing it up, I think I'm ready to rock my friend's birthday. I hope everyone has, oh no, hi Pesliz. Sorry. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and I believe Zombie Hedgehog will be streaming later tonight and may have some David Wheeler pictures from Rocky Mount Rip Rap Festival. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.